am Negan.
I am Negan.
What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of I Am Negan, a TWD Universe podcast. I'm your host, Adam Vale. Tonight, I'm joined by the one and only Richard Bailey Jr. What's up, Rich?
What's up, Adam? What's up, listeners?
Yeah, people, man, we had a little issue, man. Richard's PC died. Richard PC died, but you know what? He's gonna get a brand new one, a nice one. We found a really cool looking PC with all the cool specs. Gonna pick that up, and he sounds great. I think he sounds great. He's on his phone right now, so just wanted to let everybody know that's a little bit what was going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
And also some little housekeeping. Just thanks again, people. Thanks again for subbing and on Spotify, iTunes, over at the Koalition on YouTube. Just thanks a lot. It's just cool. It's just cool that people are into The Walking Dead still. That's one thing. I always get. It's one of those things when you tell people, it's like, oh yeah, I still watch Walking Dead. It's like, what? Is that still going? I was like, yeah, it's still going, and they got spin-offs, and dare I say, I prefer the spin-off more than the original, because right now Fear is killing it. It's killing it with between the story and the cinematography. It's solid.
I agree.
Right? And this episode definitely delivered. Last one, episode 8, delivered the door, and here we are, Fear the Walking Dead, season 6, episode 9. Things left to do. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Real quick, though, because I did hear some comments. I had some people hit me up on Twitter. I was like, hey, what's going on? You guys are if you haven't seen the episode, then pause this right now. And then, because there's a lot of there's spoilers. We are doing a breakdown, review, discussion on this episode. So, just like we do all the episodes, that's how we do it here. All right, so this is, if you haven't seen it, pause, come back, watch the episode first. We can watch. Some people still ask me, how are you getting it early? Yeah, we can get early. Everybody can get early. You can sign up on AMC Plus and AMC Plus. You can go on there, sub up. They release these episodes a few days early. That's how you can go about doing it. If you want to jump in quick, if you just can't wait till Sunday, that's how you can do it, people. It's out there. AMC Plus. All right. So with that said, everyone, let's now dive into this, because a lot happened in this episode. A lot happened in this episode. I mean, right off the bat, you know what? Let's just get into it. One issue that I've had with this, now, back in college, when I took a creative writing course, I remember my professor was like, the key element here of storytelling is distinguishing the characters and their names, and not giving too many nicknames of a particular character, especially key characters, because then the reader can get a little mumble jumbled and not sure who you're talking about. And this show needed that type of guidance, because is it Virginia? Is it Jenny? Is it Virginia? Right? They keep flipping depending on who's talking. They refer to her as either Virginia or Jenny, and that pisses me off, because it's like, I like to just say, she's just Virginia. I was like, oh, and you have June calling her Jenny. And we saw a little bit with Victor Strand. Some people call him Victor, and some people call him Strand. Stop. Just pick one. Just pick. Walking Dead proper did. They stopped it. Grimes is just Rick. Hey, Rick. Carl and everybody. Whatever. That was my little thing. The reason why I bring it up, because ding dong, she's dead. That is it. That is it. I'm jumping right into it just to point that out. She is gone. All right, so real quick, let's go through this. Right after we saw from the last episode, June finds out John is dead. He's a walker. He's crawling out. It's sad. We're all emotional. No one expected that to happen, but they did it. So it turns out off camera, Morgan must have told June that it was Dakota that did the shooting, because we see that she's digging a grave, which she digs a perfect grave. When they do that overhead drone shot, I'm like, that is a perfect size. Come on now. It should be sloppy. It should look like a damn hole. But I don't know. The little things that I pay attention to, and it bothers me a little bit. It was too perfect. But Yeah, she's building a grave for him. And she dumps John in there, and then we see his gun. And she picks up the gun, and then you got one of the Rangers pointing at her, and it's like, oh, what are you doing? And Dakota, Virginia, she comes out, and she's talking to her, and she gets on the walkie, and she's talking to Morgan, and they're trying to work out a deal because she still wants Dakota back. Right? So they're like, all right, I still got your people. We'll work something out. They're like, all right, we'll meet in town. The cinematography for this town scene was awesome. I liked it. I liked it with the lighting. I liked to see with Daniel and all the rest of the crew all on their knees. And kind of pointless with this because you're not going to kill them if you know that Morgan has something that you want, meaning Dakota. There's no sense to this. But whatever, it was a great scene. It was a great scene because they do a nice wide shot, and then you see Strand and everyone, all the other Rangers surrounding them, a nice little oval shape around it. And we also listened to the trailer where it was like in the center of town, and she's doing the whole thing. There's Virginia playing it up about what she wants. But then Morgan shows up, and he's like, you know what, you're going to lose. And he gives his whole little speech, right? This is crazy because it's like, wait a minute, what's happening here? And it's like we see that Strand has been, again, all off camera, slowly been brainwashing or controlling, manipulating, whatever you want to call it, the rest of the Rangers. And he's like, we're tired of you, Virginia. Everyone is tired of you. Morgan's right. We all have some issues with you and how you control everything here. So she flips out. She still has a loyal member. And this is what we saw in the trailer. Just guns blazing. Everyone's shooting. Morgan's over there. He's like, no, he's trying to save his people. He's trying to get to Grace. But there was one of Virginia's loyalists grabs Grace. And she grabbed Grace and Daniel.
Yeah.
Right? They grabbed Grace and Daniel. And then the rest of the crew are still there. Just like trying to take cover. And there's a whole shootout going on here. This was the Wild West. This was a fun scene. You see everybody running around and shooting. Of course, not Morgan, but Strand, and he's got his cool cowboy hat. I mean, this is definitely a Wild West scene at night. Yeah. It was awesome. What did you think of this whole scene here?
Oh yeah, no, I agree 100%. It was an awesome scene. It was a lot of tension that whole time, even though we knew that Virginia was not going to kill any of them. It still was tension because she had her guns on them. And then, like you said, Morgan comes out of the shadows with the cowboy hat and proceeds to tell her why she's not going to do this. And then pretty much tells her, yes, Dakota was the one that had killed that officer. And this is what John died for. And then that's when everyone just gets really angry. And that also is when Strand just says, okay, that's it. Now we're fed up. We also have an issue with you. And then all hell breaks loose. I thought they did a very good job with the tension because you thought even at that moment, and then just so fast how the balance of power shifts where Virginia thinks she's in control. All of a sudden, nope, now she's not in control. Just like that.
See, now that's right. That's a good point. The Dakota, Morgan then tells everybody about, your sister, I almost spilled the big spoiler on this. Your sister did the killing of the Ranger and all. She's like, no, it's not. You don't understand. And then the camera started cutting to a lot of Rangers, and you see them looking confused, like what? But that really doesn't play too well with everything because the fact that Strand made it seem like he already took control of these guys. Like he said, all right, this is it, people, and I guess they're trying. It was a quick divide. Maybe there were some people because obviously that's where the shootout goes, and there are some people that were still on Virginia's side. But it was just interesting to see that that was the breaking point for some people, like no, not good, and then they just start going at it. But yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that moment. Cut a little further ahead, now we see that Morgan is with Virginia. She gets shot. That's the other thing. She gets shot. She's been banged up in the past this whole season. Between the Walker incident, back at the fuel refinery, and then this, she's all banged up. She's shot, but it's not life threatening, but she's definitely taking her lickings in this season. And so Morgan is talking about, he's like, I need I need Gracie, I need Daniel, go get your people, tell them that we need them. It's like, oh, no. She's trying to work out a deal, doing that whole thing. And then this is the key part of this back and forth is when he says that your sister is the one that saved me. And she doesn't buy it. And that's when he takes out the little note and says, hey, look, this is what she wrote. Verify. He said, like, what, verify the handwriting? I think that's what he said. He was like, look, this is her handwriting. She wrote this. And she did this because she wants me to kill you. And she's like, what? Kill me? What? She's just like, and then this is where she starts. He was like, well, you killed the parents, the whole thing. And it's like, oh, there's more to it. You don't know. She's getting all emotional. She calls up on the Rangers that have Daniel and Grace and just says, hey, listen, I'm okay. Are they okay? Morgan wants to hear their voice. Says, okay. And I think they agreed to a meeting point. There was a meeting point or somewhere they were going to try to meet because we see that they leave this little cave area that we're at. And then Sherry's crew shows up with the mannequin mask. Their whole thing happens. And it's like, oh boy. And now they're chasing them. And they're like, come on, we got to run through the woods. So they're running. And again, this is all during daylight. So I think this would have been cool at night if they would have had with the lights from the truck and the tank and all that. But whatever. I'll take it. It was fine. A lot of gunfire going back and forth. But at this point, this is where I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking on this one. What was it? They get through the wooded area, and then Sherry is about to put them down. And I think this is when the other crew show up. Right? Is that what happens at this point? I'm trying to remember.
Well, I know Morgan stopped Sherry from.
Yeah, that was a key part, but I wasn't sure if Dwight and them got involved at this one. Because I think it was just Morgan just saying that telling Sherry because she catches him and it's like, hey, this is it. We're going to take her. We need her. We're going to kill her and the whole thing. And he's like, no, I need her alive because I need to get Grace back. I need to get Daniel back. We have to do this whole thing. So
Yeah. Well, this is the Dwight. It doesn't really interfere until they get back to the.
That's it. When they get back to camp. All right. Because that's the one part I blanked and I didn't put that in my notes. So yeah. So she eventually just says, all right, fine. She lets them go. Right. So they get back to the town. Everyone's pissed off that she's there. They're like, why is she here? Why did you bring her here? And he's just explaining. He's like, well, I need to get my people back, our people back. They did a great job with this set so far because now it has a big wall with the gate.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of resembles Alexandria with that
Yep.
setup. Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, this is really nice. What do you call this place?" This is Virginia speaking. We didn't give it a name. It's like, who cares about the name? I was like, you're about to die, But it does look cool. There's a community. There's people there. Everybody's doing their thing. But at this point, while they're there, and he's trying to discuss the whole situation, she wants to see. What you call it? She wants to see. Well, I just realized it just cut apart, and I guess because the way I was trying to when I did write something down. The key part is that she told Morgan that Dakota is not her sister. Dakota is her daughter.
Yes.
And that's what I was saving. I was trying to save it for the end of bringing that part up when she actually tells Dakota this. But whatever, it happened. That was a key part that they had talked about, and that's a big deal. And I had a feeling that was going to be the case here because she was so protective, and I don't know. It's just something about it just didn't seem right. Of like, if it's a sibling, most times you'll be like, you know what, they're their own person. Let them do what they want to do. Hey, you want to go run off? Go ahead. But when it's your child, it's a different story. You feel more protective. And that's what was coming off here. And back in my head early on when we saw Virginia and Dakota, I was like, well, maybe it's just the age thing. She is younger. But I was like, man, that is a big age gap. I mean, we don't know how old Virginia is, but definitely she looks a lot older than Dakota. So that explains it. She's like, hey, I got knocked up early. My parents weren't too nice about it. They weren't too happy about it. There were some other things. I was thinking they could have went real dark there and said it was a family member or something, But they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't go down that road. They could have pulled the Jake the Snake, if everybody knows that story. Really sad, But no, they didn't go there. And so that's the whole thing. And so he doesn't tell everyone this. That's Morgan. He doesn't tell the group, but he's like, she needs to talk to Dakota. Where's Dakota? And like, oh, we have it locked up in the church. It's like, all right, we'll get to that. We'll get to talking about what's going on there. So at this point, this is where more Dakota, Strand and Sherry's crew, everyone shows up now. They track them down. That sucks because I don't remember him telling anyone of this location. Did he tell them where to go?
Well, yeah. The thing is that he didn't tell everybody, but I recall when he did have that little moment where he was with Virginia. Virginia was telling them where she was at that particular point. So what my guess is that they tracked them because if you recall, right after that happened, that's when Sherry and the group showed up with the tank.
Yeah.
So they must have still been tracking them to know where they were going.
Maybe they had one of the walkie-talkies. Yeah, because Virginia had told for the meeting, and the meeting was the front of the new base, the Morgan's camp. Yeah. And that was to bring Grace and Daniel. So we see that they show up and they're there, but then at the same time we see all the Rangers show up with Strand on one cliff side. On the other cliff side we got Sherry's crew with the mannequins, and everyone's there, and they're like, you know what, just bring Virginia out, she's going to die. And Virginia knows it. She's like, this is it. This is my time. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but she's going to die. Now, I think at this point, it was definitely at this point, or was it after this point? At one of these points is when she goes into the church and then she talks to Dakota. Dakota hates her, doesn't want to see her, and then she just spills the beans. She was like, oh, you killed my mom, you killed my dad. She said, no, I didn't kill your parents. I'm your mom. I'm your mom, and then she gives the whole spiel. Right?
Yep.
But at this point, we got Morgan trying to defuse the situation with outside, or they were talking on walkie. But he brings Dakota outside with him, saying, hey, listen, I'm going to put an end to this. He takes out his axe. I'm going to end it because this was what Virginia wanted. Because she said it. She said, if you feed me off to those groups, they're going to tear her apart.
Yeah.
They're rightfully so. He did some horrible things to them. She was horrible. Like, that was one of the other things when she was telling Morgan before it, she was like, oh, you can just let me and Dakota go, and we'll just go off, and you'll never see us again. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's not happening. Remember? You shot me. You left me for dead. Look what you put everybody else through. No, it doesn't work that way. And so they're out there. He has the axe. I never thought for a moment that he was going to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way he's going to pull this off. He's okay with killing the walkers, and we saw him before when he snapped and started fighting and shooting and all that stuff, but I don't see him doing this in this fashion with the axe, because she was like, all right, let's do it. She puts her head up on a rock, and she's like, cut it off, let's go. I'm ready to die. And he lifts up the axe, and everyone's sort of upset, but he was like, listen, this is how it has to be. You're not going to get her. This is what she wants. This is how we're going to do it. And now you could all see she's dead. He lifts up the axe. He starts getting all these quick flashbacks. I paused it a few times. You see his son. We see his wife. We see other members of the crew that are no longer with them. And I guess they just, one of those full circle, I shouldn't be doing this. This doesn't seem right. The typical trope of, if I do this, I'm just as bad as you. And I was like, hey.
So I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Was you expecting resistance from Victor Strand or Sherry after he told them that he wasn't going to do it?
Well, wasn't expecting too much resistance, because I'm trying to. Everyone else is bitter about the issues with Virginia, but if you think about it, I don't recall. Strand definitely didn't get shot. Sherry didn't get shot. Morgan got shot. You know what I mean? It's like you all have issues because the outcasts of Sherry's crew, those are people that got kicked out and the whole thing. All right, that's sad. Strand, you got promoted. She gave you a job. You look clean. You got your own place. All the Rangers are well fed. They're the best treated in the community. So if anyone has a real gripe who should get it, there's two people. There's Morgan. And then there's June. Those are the two that really have beef, that need to get something off their chest and get vengeance. Those are only two that really fit. So I know everyone else would like, oh yeah, we're going to rip her apart. And I'm sure there's backstories. Everyone has a backstory. I'm sure some of the Rangers lost their loved ones, whatever. Maybe some of them were outcasts. I think that would have been cool to see a ranger, like on his horse, and then see maybe a brother or a girlfriend or somebody that he thought was gone forever. Because remember, the exiles are Sherry's crew, and then just be like, "Oh man, I missed you so much." I don't know. That's probably would have been cheesy, but it's just something I was thinking about, especially when they were looking across from both sides of this canal there, this canyon.
Yeah.
So he gets those flashbacks, and then he just like puts the axe down, his battle axe. Is like, yeah, this isn't happening. We're not doing this. We'll be just as bad as her. We'll come up with something. We'll make her pay. No, it's not happening. We'll figure something out. Right? That's it. I don't recall him telling them that he was gonna imprison her for long periods of time. He didn't say anything. It's not like the Negan situation where they put him in and they did the time jump of like 6 years, whatever. No, so everyone's a little bitter, but he gives a speech like we just said about we're not going to be as bad. This is it. Let's just move on with our lives. We can finally live in peace. We don't have to deal with this. And then he almost like what's the reference for this one? The way he puts the battle axe, like what was it? He stuck it in. There's no way he could have jabbed that into stone. But he puts it in like the dirt, a big pile of dirt that's right in front there. He just jabs it in, and he's like, "When the time comes, then we'll know we'll need to use it. But right now, we don't need this. There's other ways to handle things." It's like, all right, well, whatever. And then this is it. So then Strand was like, all right, well, we're going then. So they're going back to their town. I guess he's going to be the leader of that town, all right? The Lofton, I think that's what it was called. So then they ride off, and then I like the way Dwight is like, all right, come on, Sherry, let's go inside. And she's like, no. She's like, I'm not going in. I thought I wanted this, and then I realized I don't want this. And I'm trying to let go of the past, and she was part of the past, but then again, you're part of the past too. And I like hanging out with the creepy baby face guys. And so, yeah, that's my crew now. So I'm sorry, but that's where I'm going. And he was like, all right. I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Just the fact that when we first saw they got back together and she was still, no, I'm part of this rebel group. This is my crew. And that was the funny part is that even when he said, come on, Sherry, let's go in. It was, come on, Sherry, let's go in. It wasn't, let's bring all your people, your outcasts, let's join this. No. They still want to live wherever they're that weird community that they had. They like living that life. And the problem with that, you could be a rebel. There's nothing wrong with that. Rebels. But who are you fighting then? Now, Morgan did hint that there is another crew. No, sorry, not Morgan. What's his name? Strand. Strand hinted about the other crew that we know of. The end is the beginning. The threat. Because he did say, he's like, there is a bigger threat coming. So we are definitely going to have to prepare for that threat. But they don't say it by name. They don't say what we just mentioned, the end is beginning. They don't say it. So they're still being very vague. And now we know that's where this is going to continue on. Now it's going to be that all about them. And I'm sure we'll see Sherry's crew get involved in that. Because now we have 3 camps. We got Strand's, we got Sherry's, and we got Morgan's. All right. So there we go. We go back into Morgan's camp. And Sherry is now, Virginia is now sitting in the church. They took Dakota out. I don't know where they bring Dakota, but at this point, June walks in, and they have a little back and forth about what's going on, and she just whips out that gun and puts a bullet in Virginia's head. Bam! Takes her out. And that was it. That's what we were waiting for. And that was a big surprise. Because the way they played it off with Morgan and of the speech about, no, we're not going to be as bad as them and we're going to do things right. I don't know. There is no right when it comes to Virginia. I mean, someone's going to want her dead somewhere along. And what did I say? It's either Morgan or June. Especially now with John dead. And so she did it. She puts him down. Somebody, and she's dead, and she walks out. Everyone, they go running over to church, like, what happened? And then you see Dakota crying, and about, like, really? You're crying? You give a shit about this? Oh, because you found out she's your mom? Come on now. Yeah. So, but it was like I said, everyone watched this episode. But there was a really cool back and forth story dialogue, what was going on there, because that's when June opened up and talked about her daughter. She's like, I get it. Yeah. I know the whole thing about trying to protect your daughter. I cost the whole community. Remember, because the daughter turned and then bit everybody and the whole thing. So I get it, but I'm not going to continue that cycle with you. You're going
Yep.
down. I'm ending this, and she did it. She did it, and I'm glad she did, because that's what I feel was missing from Walking Dead proper, with those
Mm.
type of shock moments, those
Yep.
unexpected moments. And we got to see that here, and I'm sure a lot of people, when they watch this, are like, "Oh wow, this is what we need to see on Walking Dead proper with Maggie and Negan." I hope it doesn't happen, because I think Negan is a much better character, not because of the comics and the whole thing. I just never really bought into
Oh,
the whole. You got something to say? Say.
oh no, right after you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah.
Continue.
I just never bought into the whole Virginia. We never really got a true backstory of how she became the leader of the group. I know they mentioned somewhat that she was close to the former leader, but was it a husband or something? Was she the second in command? How did they go about? Who knows? Maybe we'll get a flashback. I think it's not needed at this point,
Hmm.
but it would have been great just to see how she took control. Just like we
I agree.
saw a little bit with Negan. That would have been cool to see that, but we didn't. Whatever, it's done. So, all right, Rich, we gonna say?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It would have been good to get that. We probably won't get it now, but I do agree. The 2 points I wanted to make. That number one, I'm definitely glad how they tied back what happened with June's daughter and how she didn't want Dakota to feel like she would get away with killing her husband. So I'm glad that they tied that up. And again, this is the other point I was going to make, is that just like you said, this is what separates this show from The Walking Dead, because I feel like they are not afraid to kill off important characters. As you said earlier, I don't think anyone expected John to get killed last week, and you definitely wasn't expecting uh, Virginia to get taken out this week. So it's like they're not afraid to make these decisions to just get rid of characters if they feel like that character story has ended.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the regular Walking Dead, when the last season finale, when you had all this stuff happening with when it was Beta that was leading all of these walkers to the camp, and yet not any important characters on the hero side got killed. There was there was a couple of other, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, secondary characters. That one character that got killed, but not
Yeah.
of the any of the characters that we care about, any key characters.
Mm-hmm. And,
So
and not only that, with the way Walking Dead proper usually does it, it's a build up. It's a
yes,
build up, and then it usually happens for the mid season or the season finale. We're not in the mid season. We're back from the mid season, and we're not near the season finale yet. It's only 2 episodes back, and
is that
boom, she's gone. And there was no build up. There was this just happened. This is it. Yeah, you could have watched the preview trailer, but even that didn't hint at this. It just showed a shootout. It
yeah.
focused on what was happening back at the town. But this was a big surprise. This was a
Hmm.
big surprise. So this is something that I said off camera, and I'll bring it up here. At this point, we see Morgan, and he's embracing with Gracie, and they're all happy go lucky. And she looks at him, and she's I think said 8 months pregnant, right? So she thinks it's a boy. They don't know if it's a
Hmm.
boy, but baby's doing fine. We found that out in last episode. She's healthy. But then she takes the cowboy hat. She looks at him and she takes the cowboy hat off him. It's like, what's this? And she pushes it aside. I'm assuming this is it for the cowboy theme for Morgan. Just the fact that she did that. I was like, what is this? This is cosplay here. This isn't you. And so maybe that's going to be
Oh,
that in the duster coat. He's taking everything that he took off the bounty. Is that it? Because he already put down the battle axe that he got from the bounty hunter. So.
well, I definitely think yeah, it could be the end of the cowboy theme as far as the hat is concerned, but he definitely will be picking up that axe again, because whoever this other threat is, I'm pretty sure that they will want to come after everybody. And if this threat had an issue with Virginia, and they ever find out that it was Morgan's crew that took out Virginia, aka June, then that's a problem for Morgan, because they're probably going to come after Morgan, and the others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it's a lot. There's a lot, and we'll talk about like what we think right after this, because this is the last scene. We see June leaving. I forgot who handed. Somebody handed her John's hat, And she wound up grabbing John's hat and she puts it on, and everyone's like, "Oh, what you do?" The whole thing. And she's like, "You know what she did? She put Virginia down." She says, she's like, "I saved you once. I'm not saving you again. That's it. You're done." And she just leaves the Morgan's camp. So you just walk off, and that's how this episode ends. Where's she gonna go? I don't know. I hope she doesn't go back to John's cabin and we go through that whole thing. Where is she? She's at John's cabin. Let's go visit her. I don't know. Maybe she's going to be a lone ranger and she's going to go out there and try to find the other crew, but there's no incentive for that. So, if anything, this could be the end for her as well. She just goes off into the sunset. She's gone. Because that's how they portrayed it. You just see her off in the back, and she got a gun and her cowboy hat. Doesn't have any supplies though, so she just no horse. She's just walking off. Maybe she'll just walk right back. Maybe this is just a tease, and then next episode we'll see she's knocking on the door. Can I come back? I just need a breathing space. I'm cool now. I'm cool. Here, take the gun. All right, Rich. Well,
that's a very strong possibility. That either that or she could be gone for good. But I definitely question what Morgan was thinking, that she wouldn't want revenge over what happened to John. Because it's like, this is a character that has had to put up with a lot of stuff. And even when she could have killed Virginia before she did it, I mean, I would think as a viewer of the show, she probably is going to get that revenge. But for Morgan to still question and think that she can just forgive her and all this other stuff, I mean, he should know better than that, because this is her husband that got killed, his best friend. But obviously, it's the wife. So I think the wife takes it a lot harder than he would have taken it.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Morgan, if Grace would have died, he would have done the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. He would have done the same thing. So and still, people gotta remember that baby that Gracie's carrying. That's not Morgan's baby. I'm pretty sure they never engaged in coitus. So, yeah,
that's correct.
Right. That she was pregnant when he met her, with the whole radiation and all that.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But how much do you want to bet if the baby is a boy, he's going to say, "Why don't we name him Dwayne after my son?"
Oh, really? Oh. Well, I was thinking John. After her best friend.
Yeah, that's
his
possible.
Best friend. I was like, oh, because he even said he told her, he's like, you when he was telling Virginia as he was doing that death walk to the church, and he was saying, it's like, not only did you shoot me, you killed my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. Now that we have it to the point that we definitely know there's 3 factions here. We got Morgans, we got Strand. Strand did try to recruit Felicia, but she's not having it. She's like, "Nah, I'm staying here. I thought we were on the same page," and that's when he sort of just hinted, like, "There's another threat. There's another threat that we have to prepare for." But he doesn't tell her. He doesn't give more detail. At this point, you would give more detail.
And that's the other thing. Even Virginia didn't bring this up to Morgan either. So it's
she never said anything. She was like, "You need me for the intel. You need me to." All she kept saying was, "I was protecting all of you. I was protecting all of you." So we don't know. Who knows? Maybe she was originally part of that other crew. We don't know. The other little notable is that when Sherry was talking about going to be with the group, she never offered a handout to Dwight. Do you want to come? No.
Yeah.
No, that was never offered. It was like, no, you're the past. This is the past, and I'm leaving. It was never like, listen, this is done. I don't want to live with your crew. I'm happy with my group. You want to come with me? No, this was a divorce. This was it. This is how you do a divorce when there's no courts. You just like, I'm ready to go. Peace. You want to shake hands? Nah, I'm good. And that was it. And so Dwight, that's the closure on that end. So what do you think we can expect going forward?
No, that's a good question. Well, I think that obviously it's a lot of mystery as to what this other threat is, this other group. And I also believe that because they made the bold decision to kill off one of the main antagonists this early on, because this is only the second episode. Yeah. Of the second the mid-season. So they must have bigger plans coming for the next couple of episodes. Um, but my guess is we'll get some answers as to who this group is, and the other thing is that by the end of this episode, uh, the other two groups don't know that Virginia's dead. So I would be
Yeah.
curious as to what their reaction was going to be when they find out that she was killed anyway, because they
Well,
want.
there's no internet, so I don't know how there's not someone's gonna text them. It's like, oh, guess what just happened? Oh,
Yeah,
when, yeah. So who knows? Who knows how they're gonna react when it does happen, or if they ever find out.
yeah, yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah. But
Uh,
the question is, that is my question with all this, is who's gonna be the first group to encounter the new group, that the end, that group,
that's a very good question.
because we
Uh,
saw the markings, but we don't know. And then, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
well, I'm gonna make a guess. I don't know if this, this end group. I don't really know if they've ever been to where Virginia's base of operations are, but if they have, then the Strand might be the first one to encounter them. I'm not 100% sure though, because we've never seen this group in terms of interacting with Virginia, so it's hard to tell. But
Now,
that's a good question.
yeah, that, or it could be one of the other locations. Because remember, she had, when she was mouthing off Virginia before she died, talking about how I tried to protect you and all my groups, or something to that effect. Remember, she had multiple locations. We saw at the beginning of this season where
Hmm.
where uh, which were Dwight and all the other Daniel. They're all in different locations. Remember,
Yeah,
June was in another location. There's different groups, different camps. So now, I guess who's in charge of all the other ones? It's got to be Strand. It's got to be that he's the new Virginia, because
yeah,
that's the way he's portraying it. Like, hey, I'm in control of everything now. I got the plans. And Daniel went in with Morgan's group, right? Because he didn't really get any time. We saw a little bit of him, but he didn't really get any. I was gonna say mic time, but he didn't really get any dialogue from him. So I'm
yeah.
assuming he's staying with Morgan's crew. He's not staying with Strand.
That's correct. Yeah,
So it's gonna be interesting to see one of these groups, or if they just decide they're gonna have this new villain group attack one of these other outposts that Virginia had, so that way they could just show them doing destruction and doing that whole thing.
yeah.
Because remember, we saw a little bit of that with the, what was it, the episode where Dwight meets up with Sherry again. Remember the office building, and he had
Hmm.
saved those people, and the office building, and all that, and we saw the writing on the wall, so they were involved in that whole thing. So we know that they're out there, but we don't know how strong they are. We don't know what their numbers are, and what their end goal. If it's just to consume or just kill everyone. It makes it look like they're just out to kill everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So we will see. But there you go, people. That was our little rundown and review of season 6, episode 9 of Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I've always enjoyed Fear. I mean, early on it was great. Then in the middle it flip flopped when a lot of the cast members were leaving and no one knew what the hell was going on. But I think it found its footing, which is throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. That's it. Come on now. If we would have said, yeah, this is, and when I try to describe this to other people, it's like Walking Dead Wild West. Like, what? What are you talking about? And then you see the cover with the cowboy hat and everything, and Morgan on the, oh no. No. For some people that might be one too far. But like, no, I'm sorry, I'm good. I was like, no, but you got to give it a chance. And if you just give it a chance, then you realize, wow, this is a fun show.
Exactly.
This is a fun show. This not like World Beyond. That is not a fun show.
Oh no.
Yeah, for those listening, we also cover World Beyond, and we'll be back for the second season of that, and the second and final, I should say. It's
the second and final. Yep.
second and final. That can't wait. I'm just curious if any of those kids from that group are going to cross over into Walking Dead or into Fear. It's very possible.
I'm curious of that, and I'm curious if there will be another crossover with The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead.
That's something else I was thinking. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some familiar faces in that other group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If they throw some curveballs. And it was like, oh, you thought this guy was dead, or you thought she was dead. So anything's possible. It'll get the shock. It'll get the wow factor. But there goes that. So we will see you next week, people, for episode 10. So thanks again for following us over on Twitch or subbing on YouTube and checking us out over at the Koalition. We are both from the Koalition. I'm associated editor, and Richard Bailey is the editor-in-chief. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of content, both ends, and we will see you next week, people. Peace.
Peace.